What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel and my review of The Mandalorian, Chapter 6. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day. We got a good one here, kids. Now, they crammed a lot in this episode, so the first thing we see is the Razor Crest docking in the space station, and Mando is greeted by Ranzer, a human who's played by Mark Boone Jr., who you'll remember from Sons of Anarchy. And through a little bit of dialogue, we find out that Mando actually contacted him for some work. Now, these two guys have a past. Ranzer talks a lot about the old days and what they used to do and how we were crazy, and Mando seems a little bit dismissive, like maybe he wants to forget some of the stuff they've done because he keeps saying, well, that was a long time ago. Now, Mando is, of course, in need of some credit, so he joins a team that Ranzer's put together. And the team's mission is to rescue one of their crew members, who Mando thought was captured by another rival syndicate. But as it turns out, he was actually arrested by the New Republic. So in this crew, you've got Mayfeld, who's a human, played by Bill Burr. You've also got Berg, who is a Deveronian, played by the great Clancy Brown. Zan is a Twi'lek, played by Natalia Tena. They've also got a droid with them named Zero, and you know how much Mando loves droids. Now, before they even head out on the mission, you can tell that everybody in this group is really shady. And I got the feeling right off the bat that in some way they were going to double-cross Mando, stab him in the back, do something. One of the other reasons they actually need Mando for this job is because the Razor Crest is actually something that predates the Empire and the New Republic. It also has the ability to scramble the New Republic's signal, so it basically makes itself invisible. So the droid takes the pilot's seat and they head out on their mission. And in transit, we have some tense scenes where Mayfeld and Berg are sort of calling out the Mandalorian, and Berg tries to take Mandalorian's helmet off, and he's like, I'm not going to have it. He makes quick work of him, but as the Deveronian falls back, he hits the button that opens the door that reveals Baby Yoda. And you get another tense scene where Mayfeld sort of picks up Baby Yoda, and he's, kind of pretends to drop it, but Mando is really cool. He never overreacts. He's tense. He's always sort of there, watching everything unfold, ready to strike, but he doesn't. So they come out of hyperspace. The droid makes a quick move where everyone sort of falls to the floor, including Baby Yoda. But once they dock, Mando's able to recover him and put him in his, crib or his bedroom. His little, I guess that's Mando's living quarters. That one little bed. I don't know. It's kind of cramped for space. It looks like one of those Japanese hotels. You ever seen those where it's like a tube? Oh, wait, I'm going on a rant. I'm sorry. Let's get back to the Mandalorian. So they infiltrate the ship. Everyone's sort of sneaking around, and they come up on this group of these 4 droids, and a big firefight ensues. And so we finally get to see Mando be awesome again as he takes out all 4 of these droids pretty much single-handedly. They make their way to the control room where they encounter a human pilot. Now, it was Mando's impression that there were no humans on this ship. It was just droids. So we've got the one guard with a blaster, and of course he's outnumbered, but he's not backing down. They're really not too concerned with him. So Mayfeld finds the cell location of the guy they're trying to bust out. And that's when the guard shows off what I thought was like an explosive, but it was actually a tracking device. And once you press the button on this tracking device, supposedly a squadron of X-Wings are going to come out of nowhere and take you out. Mayfeld knows this, so the situation gets really tense. We have sort of a Mexican standoff where Mando doesn't want the guy to be killed. And of course, Berg or Mayfeld are all about killing this guy. But before anybody can fire a blaster, Zan kills the guard with a throwing knife. And of course, before he dies, the guard activates the tracker, which gives him about 20 minutes before New Republic reinforcements show up. So they make their way to the cell, they open the door, and we find out that the captive is actually Zan's brother. And this is where the double cross happens. They throw Mando in the cell, shut the door, and take off. Now, we typically have one good Mando badass scene per episode, but this episode sets a new standard. So to break out of his cell, he uses his grappling hook to snag a droid walking by, pulls him over to his cell, rips his arm off, shoots him in the head with his own blaster. Then he actually uses the data interface prong on the droid's arm to unlock the door. So now that Mando's free, he knows that everyone else is heading for the ship, so he actually goes back to the control room. And this is where Mando turns into Jigsaw. He scrambles a signal to the droid on the Razor Crest so they can't communicate with him. And then he starts closing blast doors within the ship to sort of separate the team, dividing them into 2. And then he starts to take them out one by one. And the first guy to go down is a Deveronian. They have this pretty cool fight scene where they're going back and forth at each other. Now, Berg is a big dude, and he goes toe-to-toe with Mando, and there's a point where you actually think Mando's going to lose the fight. Berg even takes a flamethrower to the face, and it doesn't even phase him. I'm not even sure if that's a Deveronian thing. Hey, Siri, are Deveronians fireproof?
Okay, I found this on the web for Are Different Onions Fireproof. Check it out.
That's not what I said. Are different onions fireproof? What? That may just be a liberty that Filoni has taken. I don't know. Now, once again, a door comes to Mando's rescue. He's able to flip Berg over and then take out the control panel with a throwing knife. And as the door comes down, we think, he got him. And then we see Berg come back into frame, and he's actually lifting the door. But just when you think all is lost, Mando hits a button which closes the blast doors, and that takes out Berg. So if one door don't get you, the other one will. And now Mando goes on the hunt, and we see that the doors that he closed actually sort of creates like a labyrinth that separates everybody, and he's able to pick them apart one at a time. Cut to the ship where we see Zero the droid is looking for Baby Yoda. He saw him once briefly, but now he's armed with his blaster, and I guess he's going to kill him? I'm not sure what his motivations were. Now, we did see where he saw, I guess it was the old recording where Grief Targa was telling Mando to deliver the package. The recording we saw in the first episode. So in my mind, I think I would just probably capture him alive. Now I'll cut back to the ship where we see Mando and Zan's brother Quinn having a conversation, and Quinn's basically saying, listen, I'm the bounty. Don't kill me, take me back alive so you can get your money. Then a quick cut back to the ship where we see that Zero was about to fire on Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda sort of lifts his little hand. I guess he's going to do a force trick, and then Zero's chest just explodes. But it had nothing to do with Baby Yoda. Mando just shot him from behind, so no more weird force powers in this episode. So then they travel back to the space station where we find out that Mando didn't kill Quinn. He actually delivered him back to Ranzer. Mando got to get paid. So Mando takes his reward, heads back into the Razor Crest, and begins to leave the dock. And as Mando's ship is leaving the dock, Ranzer pushes a button and tells someone on the other side of the intercom to kill him. And that's where we have this cool shot where the Razor Crest is sort of leaving, but then we have this other ship coming up out of the floor, getting ready to take off. And it's at this point that Quinn reaches in his pocket and he's like, hey, what's this? That's right, kids. It's the long-range tracker that Mando planted on him before he left. So before the Razor Crest can even make the jump to light speed, we have 3 X-Wings come out of hyperspace. And then we get some classic cockpit views of the pilots. And the pilots are none other than Dave Filoni and then the director of this episode and the director of episode 3, Deborah Chow. So they swoop in and take out the ship before it can take off and then begin blasting the space station as we see the Razor Crest make the jump to hyperspace. And before we cut the credits, we see that Mayfeld, Berg, and Zan are alive and well, but they're locked in a cell on that transport ship headed to a New Republic prison. So I had a lot of fun with this episode. There were a few issues that I had. One was some of the acting. The actress that portrays Zan was, constantly sort of licking her lips, and showing us her fangs, and we're like, okay, we get it. All right, she was a little annoying to me. The episode did seem a bit rushed, but I think they were just trying to cram a lot into this episode. This maybe could have been a 2-parter. We also don't get anything in this episode that moves the main story forward. It seems like it's just another stop on Mando's way to some other destination. Now, the next episode is actually on Wednesday, so I'm really curious to see where this puts us before The Rise of Skywalker, which comes out Thursday. I don't know if we're going to see a tie-in or maybe a tidbit of information. I know that they're going to give us another sneak peek at the movie in that episode, but I wonder if there's going to be any story elements in that carry over to The Rise of Skywalker. We'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and rate this episode. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great episode. There were a few small issues, but nothing really detracted from the overall fun that I had. So those are my thoughts. What did you think about the episode? Let me know down in the comment section. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.